So you're very welcome to I Love My Bees. James here with you. And this week's video, it's very straightforward, but the topic is very important. Why clip and mark your queen? So let's get straight into the action. So why mark your queen? Well, very simply, she's going to be so much easier to spot no matter what colour you have her marked, particularly during the months of May and June. So you can see me there now just marking her, and I'm going to, the next video in fact, I'm going to show you exactly how to mark her and the right way to do it. And you know yourselves that particularly during say May, June, July, when our colonies are really strong, you will on occasions have to find the queen, and sometimes the colony can just be massive and it's just so hard to spot her. And you can just see there in that clip, once she's marked, she really stands out and it makes life so much easier, particularly as a beginner when your queen is marked. So the next question creates lots of debate. Why clip a queen? Well, first of all, it's to stop you losing half your bees, and that's really important. Secondly then, it allows you to increase your inspection time from 7 days to 14 days. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but that's a significant increase. Now, any beekeeper, particularly a beginner beekeeper, the last thing you want is to be losing swarms, particularly a prime swarm like this one here, because you have no idea where that swarm will go. It could end up in your neighbour's home, and swarms just love going down chimneys, or they might go under the eave chute, or they might go into the attic, and worse again, if you've got angry neighbours and they're going to blame your swarm because it came from your hive, and worse again, if there's bees chasing your neighbour, it's not a good situation. Also, of course, as well, if there are young children nearby, swarms are not ideal. So we've got to keep on top of our swarming as best we can. So let's look now in more detail about increasing your inspection time from 7 to 14 days. Now, any beekeeper will tell you that when you inspect your colony of bees, it does disrupt them. But of course, as a beekeeper, we've got to go in during the months of May and June. We're particularly looking for queen cells. And once a colony decides it's going to swarm, it builds these long cells down that we call queen cells. Now, it's important to understand the cycle behind this, because a queen cell is different. A worker takes 21 days to emerge from when the egg is laid. A drone takes 24 days, but a queen takes just 16 days. So the queen lays the egg on day 1 and it's slightly upright like that. Then on day 2 it's tilted at an angle. On day 3 it's lying flat. On day 4 then it becomes a larvae. So once a colony decides that it wants to build a queen cell, it's going to pump in larvae into that cell from day 4. It's a highly nutritious food. This will continue for the next 5 days. Constantly, the nurse bees are going to be feeding royal jelly to that cell for 5 days.
So as you can see, the bees just love to be around the open cells because they're feeding the larvae, especially the nurse bees, royal jelly in vast amounts. So the larvae is inside. On day 9 it will be sealed.
So then normally what happens on day 9 is that it seems to be triggered, but once the cell is sealed, the swarm will then leave your colony, and of course it will land up on a branch or a tree. If you happen to be in your apiary, of course you can collect or catch that swarm, but of course if you're not in your apiary, that swarm will then of course move to a new location. But if your queen is clipped, what will happen is she'll come out, she can fly, so she's going to fall to the ground. So the swarm is going to go up onto the tree, but straight away they realise that the queen is not with them, and they are then going to go straight back into the hive once they know she's not with them. So in the meantime, then your queen could crawl back up under the hive, under the floor with some bees. Sometimes she gets completely lost. And sometimes you can actually be very lucky and find her on the ground with a clump of bees, and then that gives you options if you're lucky to find her. So once the swarm has gone back into the hive, so they then go literally straight on to plan B, and they're going to wait for the first virgin queen to emerge, and as soon as that virgin queen emerges, off the swarm will go again. So by clipping your queen, you have bought yourself 7 days, but this usually is 5 days because you've got to allow for a virgin queen emerging early, which could happen sometimes. So the time frame basically then is 9 plus 5, which is 2 weeks, and that's great, 2 weeks between inspections. But of course you could inspect your bees on day 9, day 10, day 11, just a lot depends on the weather. But whether you clip your queen is your decision. But as a beginner beekeeper, I am encouraging you to mark and clip your queens. It gives you loads of options. It makes a big difference. So it really helps you to prevent losing lots of swarms and good bees. But the decision, of course, is yours, but I am definitely recommending it. So in the next video, I am going to show you how to mark and how to clip a queen.